Indie projects have been proven to be successful and garner a lot of attention in a short amount of time. A fan base is birthed online every time a new indie show, game, or music steps up onto the scene, but unfortunately they don't all get the equal attention and reach, but keep trying no matter the setbacks. I think that the collaboration of a small group of few to a couple of dozen across the web is incredible and still very much possible, especially when combating major studios that won't or can't give every project a chance at best, or suck it dry for all its creativity and write it off for taxes at worst. If Hazbin Hotel is the poster child for successful indie animation, then Five Nights at Freddy's is the poster child for indie games success. Same goes to Among Us for mobile indie games. So under the right circumstances, if enough people started sharing them around or online creators bringing more attention to it, indie projects have the capability of dominating the mainstream, if not becoming their own mainstream. Despite what some detractors and those unknowing might say, I've always held on to the belief that the future is indie. But why cap it at animation when there are other media creatives that have been working hard to get their projects off the ground as well? This whole month I've been highlighting not just indie animation, but video games, musician, comic books, novels, and concepts that are in development as we speak. When I put my initial call out for indie projects in September, I was worried I wouldn't have enough to talk about, but a new non-problem occurred. Narrowing it down was no easy task, because while I could have just talked about indie animation all month, I wanted to uplift those in other creative media. And if you're curious about the ones that couldn't make it this month, please go back to the original tweet. It's in the description. I'll put it in my community posts, and please just look through all these creatives' works. It's amazing. I've listened, watched, and read hours worth of content that have their own unique stories to tell in their own stunning art form, and with what little of a following I have, I hope that more people will check these artists out and that their projects will get the attention and audience that I'm hoping that they deserve. Because while fans like us are going to be indie projects' biggest supporters, they can also be their biggest haters. It's no secret that when the amazing digital circus dropped on the scene, people were either loving it, weren't interested but showed their support for the artists, or did what fandoms do best, be complete degenerates and hating it for even daring to exist. Realistically and unfortunately, there will always be that side of fandoms to every series, and in some cases, might help garner more attention to the actual project, or hurt it. Fandoms are truly a double-edged sword to indie creators. It's not possible without them, but boy do they get too enthusiastic about it. You'll also have your haters that go beyond reasonable and valid critiques of the work in hopes to see it improve, to just downright saying the most nastiest things about the creator, their work, and their team. Props to Gooseworks for at least speaking out against such behavior in regards to their work. No creator is responsible for what their fandom does, but the literal bare minimum of declaring that such vile acts done by those fans are not recognized as actual fans of their work could help disencourage such actions, which I find to be better than saying nothing or even condoning their actions, which can and have led to real-life dangerous situations. Fandom aside, more independent studios being formed to help in the production of these projects can also go a long way. Glitch Productions have already solidified itself in being a major contributor in this, which is home to Murder Drones and the Amazing Digital Circus, and possibly more works in the future. And I did see the other week that Sparks, a YouTuber that reviews animation from the decent to foreign monstrosities, interested in also formulating an indie studio that could help further indie animated projects. And besides what the internet might say or troll him on, that's actually really great, because more the merrier to support indie creators. However, like I said before, we should keep in mind indie creators that work within various media, not just animation, and the possibilities of more cross-collaboration between creatives that would make the process of indie projects all the more probable. For example, say an indie developer wants to make an indie video game and it's in the works. They could get some help from indie animators, indie musicians, indie writers, and indie graphic design artists to help put it all together. It could all be indie top to bottom. And lastly, when collaboration between more than a few people occur, sadly there might be infighting, online spats, comparisons, and favoritisms that create negative backlash that will bring the projects and the creators' names down if not handled with maturity and in a professional manner. If indie creators can learn anything from the lackadaisy Hell of a Boss drama earlier this year, or just about anything Madrano says in response to online petty drama and spats, it's to not make indie creation into a competition, especially with how reliant projects are on cross-collaboration and audience support. If the Mythbusters can put their personal beef aside to have worked on a show for 14 years, then a group of like-minded artists can do the same for a few months to a few years. Not everyone is gonna be friends while working together, and they don't gotta be. So long as they respect each other as workers is all that matters. And most importantly, that everyone has a fair voice while on their teams. None of this superiority complex just because someone has X amount of years or experience in an industry or yada yada yada. That is how you create a snobbish and toxic environment environment that no one should have to suffer through. Also, underpaying your artists and not being transparent about the unpaid volunteer work can lead back to becoming like the mainstay media companies of today, if not worse. Workers shouldn't have to go online to make public announcements and call out posts about how they've been overworked, underpaid, and mistreated if such a matter could have and should have been dealt with within the project's leadership. What is the point of raising all these funds on Kickstarters and Patreons if a budget wasn't made or used to ensure the artists get paid their work? Which is why I hope for the current and future indie companies to have financial advisors on board and a proper human resource department to help care for their workers. If we want indie projects to grow and be recognized outside of the mainstream media, then you have to take into account of your workers as well. It should be more than just who has the most flashiest animation, who has the most kicking beats, who has the highest graphics. How are your workers? Because they are the ones who are getting it done for you. They should be top priority and taken in consideration. And I get it! Creating with friends sounds fun and easy on paper, but when other people are brought on to also help, you gotta have some professional boundaries with everyone, especially your buddies. Otherwise, that favoritism will show and evolve into petty high school drama. And remember that at the end of the day, everyone on the project is here to make it succeed. And if there are a few bad eggs among the bunch that are hindering the process, then you gotta be that boss to either shut that behavior down or let them go if the behavior continues. It's for the betterment for not just the project, but the workers involved. Indie creators have a difficult uphill battle when getting started. The least we can do is show support the best way we can, by either donating if you can, or sharing, or even just talking about their work. So thank you all for joining me this past month for the first ever IndieCember. And the next time I do this, because there will be a next time, because I came across so many incredible works and it's actually inspired myself to pick up my pencil once again, I'm gonna make a Google form next time I do this, because just getting a bunch of posts on Twitter was a mess, and you know what, I brought that on myself. Next time we gonna be more organized, but that's on me for having a brilliant idea in late September. Be sure to check out all the artists I've covered in the IndieCember playlist. You might just find your new favorite comic, song, animation, or video game. Thank you for being with me this past year. The beginning of it was a very rocky start. It was the most terrible thing I've ever been through in my entire life, and I would not wish that upon anyone. And as the year closes, I feel as though I am finally healing and trying to move forward again. Thank you all for helping me reach 10K. Please check out these indie creators. Like that, subscribe, comment your share. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next year.